Recently in South Korea, it seems like not a day goes by without a news report about cryptocurrencies. The country's 50 million residents represent less than 1% of the world's population, but they are responsible for 30% of all cryptocurrency trading. After cryptomania swept the nation, about 3 million people in South Korea are estimated to have invested in digital currencies. It's considered the hottest asset class right now, and South Korea has become a market mover. Many South Koreans have embraced Bitcoin, with cryptocurrency trading igniting their investment appetite. Young people in their 20s and 30s are making hopeful bets on cryptocurrencies as their nation's youth unemployment rate remains high. In early May, Seoul prosecutors raided South Korea's top cryptocurrency exchange, Upbit, suspecting it had been pretending to hold virtual currencies it didn't actually have. The company allegedly allowed the trading of cryptocurrencies it didn't own through its system, which indicated the coins were in its possession. Upbit is suspected of so-called paper trading because the actual amount of cryptocurrency it had access to is estimated to be considerably smaller than the amount of cryptocurrency traded on its exchange platform. The prosecutor's investigation into Upbit came about a month after the arrest of the CEO of CoinNest, another major cryptocurrency exchange in South Korea. A series of prosecution probes into the exchanges effectively hurt the overall credibility of the industry. Welcome to Korea Report, where we deliver the latest in Korean culture, business, and technology from the heart of Seoul. In this edition, we'll take an in-depth look at the state of South Korea's blockchain industry. In line with the global wave of regulations, the South Korean government began to put the brakes on with a series of regulatory measures this year, such as the real name trading system. Daily trading volume reached around 4 trillion won in January, but it tumbled as the year went on, sinking in recent weeks to 1/10 of that. One Bitcoin was worth about 25 million won in January. By April, it had dropped to 7.19 million won. Despite the crackdown, the market has shown signs of bouncing back, and digital currencies appear to be in a period of stability. The average price has hovered around the 10 million won mark since May. While South Korean regulators are still grappling with how to deal with cryptocurrencies, local firms here have set their sights on the blockchain. The technology underpins Bitcoin as well as myriad other cryptocurrencies.
I think blockchain as a whole has a great impact on society because when you're talking about decentralization of whatever industry, of whatever company, you're talking about eliminating the middleman. So you're making things more efficient. And also within blockchain, the idea is transparency, right, and security. So all of these things are within blockchain, the idea, the concept of blockchain, and that impacts us directly. So for example, bank-to-bank remittances, you remove the bank, you remove the middle guy, and it makes the party-to-party direct transaction a lot smoother, quicker, faster, and transparent and secure. So that's the idea of blockchain, and we at Phantom want to do that in a higher level, in a better way, more efficient, more faster, more secure with Phantom. Phantom is the world's first DAG-based smart contract platform. And the reason why that's important is that it solves the inherent problem of current blockchain technology, which is the scalability and the speed of transactions. So right now, the more in current blockchain, the more transactions you have, the slower the speed of the network because it's bottleneck. And that's just the inherent flaw of blockchain. What we try to do with DAG technology is to improve that, to remove the bottleneck. So the more users we have, we don't have any scalability issues and we have no speed issues at all. So DAG stands for Directed Acyclic Graph. And basically what that means is today's blockchain, you have one block of transactions after another, and they're all chain linked horizontally. They're all linear based. However, DAG is asynchronous, so you have multiple blocks all moving in one direction. So whereas current blockchain, you have to wait for one block to finish before the next block, in DAG, you can have multiple blocks going up at the same time. So again, that solves the problem of current blockchain technology.
Discussions have heated up recently about whether to allow initial coin offerings in South Korea. In September, the Financial Services Commission banned ICOs in the country. These offerings involve selling new digital currencies or tokens as part of a way for a company to raise money. Startups use ICOs to bypass the rigorous and regulated capital raising process required by venture capitalists or banks. And they prefer ICOs because they require little paperwork, letting companies solicit money directly from investors. In an ICO campaign, a percentage of the cryptocurrency is sold to early backers of the project. The main intention of the South Korean government's ban on ICOs was to protect consumers, as many ICOs ended up being just scams and money was essentially stolen from investors. The government tried to avoid these problems by establishing clear regulations for initial coin offerings. But the decision only pushed homegrown startups to other countries so they could run their ICOs there.
There are quite a number of companies that try to raise funds through blockchain. However, many of these firms don't look that promising. They should not stop at raising funds, but thoroughly think about how to realize tokenization that can result in true innovation. If they don't, there's a 98% chance they will fail. That is why you should carefully assess when it comes to investment. Some people regard blockchain as a scam, and others have doubts about its ability to evolve. Therefore, it's vital to think of ways to promote your coins when you run ICOs so that you could be able to persuade the investors. What I see is that there are two kinds of tokens. First, there is a token for the investment. This is quite the same as a stock market index. It has volatility. Therefore, the value of the token needs to be raised. The other is a token for payments. The value of the token will be pegged. This will allow it to have less volatility, so it can easily be used worldwide.
Warnings that the crypto craze could be a bubble waiting to burst, along with tighter regulations, have shaken South Korea's digital currency market. Local companies have been struggling with how to remain viable going forward. An association representing cryptocurrency exchanges and companies developing blockchain technology is acting as a communication channel between the government and the industry. The Korea Blockchain Association has more than 60 members, including major exchanges. IT companies whose business focus or interest lies in blockchain are also members. Jin Dae-jae served as South Korea's Minister of Information and Communications, as well as the CEO of Samsung Electronics. He's now president of the Korea Blockchain Association, and he's vowed to foster a healthy environment for the blockchain industry. First of all, it is really difficult to grasp the concept of blockchain. What is it in simple words?
좀 간단하게 설명드리면
Let me explain the concept of blockchain in simple terms. Satoshi Nakamoto authored a paper titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system in 2008. Simply put, it is about how we can transact money or buy and sell goods without third-party intermediaries, like banks and other financial institutions. Blockchain is an open distributed digital ledger, or database. The records within the database are called blocks. Each block contains a link to the previous block. By analogy to the physical ring-bound ledger, blocks would be like the pages of the ledger, and chain like a ring binding those pages. But don't be fooled and think blockchain is not that big of a deal. Blockchain has 4 key features which you might think are a bit difficult to understand, but it is these 4 features that are causing such a stir. The first feature is decentralization, which means there is no need for a central authority to conduct transactions. The transaction record is shared and available to all parties, which helps enhance credit worthiness since the record is transparent to everyone involved. The second is encryption, meaning there is no telling who executed transactions. and those who manage the ledger get paid fees for their services. This requires currency to be issued to pay the fees. That is why Bitcoin is called a cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency has gained widespread acceptance, not just online, but also at brick-and-mortar stores. But oddly enough, it has a limit in supply to stimulate scarcity, as precious metals have. Unlike fiat money that is sometimes printed in large quantities by the government to stimulate the economy, cryptocurrency has a limit and therefore has a scarcity value. Bitcoin has a limited supply and nobody can manipulate its value. This has triggered a speculative frenzy driving up the value of Bitcoin, which still hovers around $10,000, even though Bitcoin has no intrinsic value.
Since the cryptocurrency craze swept the country, there are many critics in Korea towards the blockchain technology. However, in order for the blockchain technology to develop, isn't it the development of the cryptocurrency inevitable? For example, the promotion of ICO.
이 블록체인이 나오고 암호화폐가 나왔는데 그게
Although blockchain and cryptocurrency are much talked about these days, it is an initial coin offering that may have far more implications than anything else. An initial coin offering, also known as a token generation event, is a type of crowdfunding using cryptocurrencies. An ICO can be a source of capital for startup companies. It can be compared with an initial public offering. In an IPO, a stake in a business is sold to investors in the form of shares, which is a very costly and complicated process. Both ICO and IPO are similar, and that they are both a means of raising capital for businesses. But ICO is much more advantageous to companies in that they can raise capital from all over the world without offering shares, while avoiding costs of regulatory compliance and intermediaries, such as venture capitalists, banks, and stock exchanges. With over 1,600 digital coins and new ones being added all the time, there is no telling how many more coins will be created in the days to come. Ambitious attempts are being made across the world to apply cryptocurrency and blockchain technologies to all kinds of transactions in our daily lives. For example, when trading goods, paying for services, redeeming vouchers, and so on. In that sense, you can say the world is changing for the better. Raising capital through an ICO is much easier than through an IPO and lowers barriers to entry for investors. One of the major weaknesses of the cryptocurrency market is its extreme volatility. However, there is no effective way yet to regulate its volatility for investors. Despite this, you can buy and sell cryptocurrencies at any time and from anywhere, which I think many investors find attractive. Granted, there is a speculative bubble in the cryptocurrency market, but you can say that its easy liquidity attracts many investors. I think ICOs will have tremendous implications in the days to come. Obviously, many startup companies have a hard time developing technologies and funding their businesses. Raising capital via ICOs has many advantages. It is easy and facilitates investment and technology development. But the problem is there is no ICO screening process in place. About 80 to 90% of the existing coins have failed to meet their funding goals and get the projects off the ground. There needs to be a rigorous ICO screening process in place to ensure that companies who are planning to make an ICO are assessed and get their projects off the ground following ICOs. Unfortunately, ICOs are prone to scams, and they are hard to distinguish from the real deal. That is why ICOs are discouraged in South Korea, although not banned by law, which has driven many ICO-seeking companies away to Singapore or Switzerland to make an ICO. This is a sad thing for South Korea, because it may lead to outflows of national wealth and leakages of core technology. Switzerland and Singapore are global ICO leaders. They have created the enabling environment for ICOs to thrive. Currently, attempts are being made in South Korea to lay out ICO screening standards, with the Korea Blockchain Association taking the lead. ICO is the wave of the future, which we cannot resist. So it would be far better to bring it out into the open and put in place the regulatory framework to react to market changes quickly.
What is needed in order for Korea's blockchain industry further develop?
그 사토시 그런 사람들이 블록체인 만들 때
I think when a person or group of people known by the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto created the blockchain, they probably didn't imagine that it would be widely used as it is today. The blockchain transaction speed is too slow. It takes quite some time to process transactions on blockchain payment networks. Banks cannot afford to wait as long as 10 minutes. A lot of efforts are being made at fixing this problem. Speed and scalability are two of the biggest challenges to overcome before blockchain can achieve mass adoption. Electricity consumption for Bitcoin mining is so huge that it almost matches the same energy levels required to power Argentina. New blockchain technologies are needed to resolve these issues. What I suggest is that these technologies should be developed in South Korea to make blockchain more universal and practical.
The global management consulting firm McKinsey & Company predicted commercial deployment of blockchain technology at scale by the year 2021. The firm forecasts 20 to 30 proof-of-concept use cases for blockchain technology will be tested in 2018. And it says 10 to 20 successful business cases will survive and be deployed commercially by late 2020. McKinsey estimates blockchain could help move 80 billion to 110 billion US dollars annually. Still, many people question the real-world applications of the blockchain technology. Against that backdrop, some companies are working to make a blockchain technology a reality.
크립토커런시가 실질적으로 실생활에 쓰여
There aren't many cryptocurrencies that are used practically in real life. It's rare. There are some technical obstacles when we try to make cryptocurrencies more practical. So we studied for a long time to try to solve those problems. And finally, we used a private mining pool and were able to make coins suitable for immediate payment and for practicality. Evans coins are known as practical coins. So how can they be used for everyday life and make profits at the same time? A practical coin is what can be used as cash. In fact, it's something inconvenient because it needs to be exchanged for different currencies when crossing borders. But we aim to provide services someone can practically use. For example, someone can use coins in Thailand when they travel to that country from South Korea, or even from any other nation without going through currency exchange.
요아 프로젝트는 블록체인 기술과 실물
YOA is a project that combines blockchain technology and the real economy. It will make a new concept of the economy, especially when it comes to franchises. Most people visit franchise businesses to have coffee in the morning or drink beers with friends after work. YOA project wants to get closer to the franchise concept, and I want it to permeate everyday life. The more links YOA has to the market, the more profit it will be able to share with market players. That is the goal of the YOA project. In fact, many franchise enterprises are struggling with market expansion because fundraising is an issue. YOA project can make it easier for them to raise funds through issuing prepaid tokens, which are counted as pre-sales. Franchises will gain opportunities to expand, develop new products, and advertise. It will also lead to reinvestment, ultimately improving the overall enterprise value.
One company is aiming to revolutionize the sharing economy through blockchain. Okidoki is building a blockchain-based system that'll shake up how we rent things with smart locks. It developed a system for opening locks via the blockchain, which is a more comprehensive vision that seeks to connect the blockchain to the physical world.
공유경제 같은 경우에는 현재
It's about time we started utilizing more of our physical assets. With IoT and blockchain, we can now transform how we rent, sell, and share physical objects. Okidoki aims to provide a smart and secure ecosystem to rent and sell things. In principle, it's a system for opening locks via the blockchain. It's a project with a vision to connect the blockchain to the physical world. Okidoki's mission is to drive productivity of the rental economy by providing easily accessible and cost-effective ways to utilize physical objects. In particular, Okidoki connects blockchain-based transactions to the opening of physical doors via smart locks. Our solution is built to integrate with various online booking platforms to expand the boundaries of customer reach. And it provides value to customers by relieving the complexities and costs involved in both digital and physical operations of the rental process. Okidoki will transform the way we rent, sell, and share things in our community.
Blockchain-related businesses are mostly operated by startups. However, in the wake of the cryptocurrency boom, major companies in South Korea are rushing to enter the blockchain industry. This country's top mobile messenger operator, Kakao, is using blockchain technology to delve deeper into overseas markets. GroundX, Kakao's newly established subsidiary specializing in blockchain, has been seeking ways to explore the technology with the goal of gaining a leading position in Asia. GroundX plans to open its blockchain platform to the public by the end of this year. I sat down with Jason Han, the head of GroundX, to learn more about his vision for Kakao's blockchain platform. First of all, tell us what GroundX does. What is behind the name of the company?
GroundX is a blockchain subsidiary of Kakao. We are developing a public blockchain platform, and at the same time, we are designing blockchain-based services capable of running on the platform. When founding the company, we hoped it will be a playground for all people who believe in the value and future of blockchain, especially for engineers and entrepreneurs. So we named the company GroundX.
GroundX is based in Japan, not in Korea. Any particular reasons for that?
The key goal of GroundX is to enter into the global market with blockchain, especially targeting the Asian market first. We believe that it would be better to be based in the Asian country. After studying a few Asian countries, we came to the conclusion that Japan is the right place for GroundX. But it's just the beginning. We will expand our branches into all over the world. We already set up a Korean branch named Ground One, and we are seeking for a blockchain hub country of Southeast Asia as Ground Two.
Why did Kakao decide to launch a blockchain business?
Kakao has long been striving to target the global market. I believe the blockchain technology can be a powerful tool for us to penetrate new markets because it can disrupt the old order of things. With that in mind, we will unveil Asia's flagship blockchain platform by the end of this year, fostering strong partnership with a number of global strategic partners who want to enter a blockchain industry.
There are already widely used blockchain platforms like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Then what could be the strong points of the to-be-developed GroundX's blockchain platform that can make GroundX competitive against these?
There are thousands of tokens and coins out there. Which one of these do you use? Me? Nothing among them. I see that's the problem of current blockchain industry. We have to prove the usefulness of blockchain as a real-world service. It's not only about speed and scalability issues, but also about user experience and service reliability issues. Current platforms just focus on scalability, but GroundX's platform is aiming for improved user friendliness and service friendliness as well as scalability. For example, we are trying to get rid of the hassles of cryptographic login with a complicated private key. It will significantly lower entry barriers into blockchain-based services for normal users. Kakao has competitive edge on user-friendly UI design and large-scale consumer services. We will put those experiences into GroundX platform, improving usability of blockchain-based services.
What do you think the future of blockchain will be?
I'm sure that blockchain will become the next generation of internet at the end. But I predict a lot of services which started from last year would fail to acquire a meaningful number of users and be shut down in 1 or 2 years. On the other hand, well-established internet giants like Kakao will jump into a blockchain space and try to redesign their existing business models. They can make blockchain industry mature. Nevertheless, I expect some innovative startups will become the next Google, Facebook, and Amazon with disruptive services based on blockchain.
What is the immediate goal GroundX having to achieve this year?
As I said earlier, we will launch our public blockchain platform and run services with millions of users on their platform. Embracing and leading global strategic partners who want to apply blockchain technology is another goal of this year. In addition, we will make a blockchain tech ecosystem globally.
Blockchain still feels like a concept irrelevant to normal, common people. Will the day come when the blockchain technology becomes inevitable for people like me?
When the internet browser was first introduced in the early 1990s, who would have expected that internet giants like Google and Amazon would come into the world and change our life completely? Most people couldn't predict how a disruptive technology will change the world before the technology would be realized. The same holds true for blockchain. I believe that blockchain will fundamentally reshape all industry and even society and economy. It will not take too long. We may meet that future in 5 to 10 years, in my guess.
After riding the Bitcoin wave to become one of the world's largest markets for cryptocurrencies, South Korea has been steadily building itself as a hotbed for the global blockchain community. A string of global blockchain companies has recently entered South Korea to set up shop, including US-based startup Steemit, a social networking website that uses its own blockchain-based rewards platform for publishers. And now, more of the country's leading companies are putting money into blockchain, widely considered to be one of the most revolutionary forms of technology in modern society. Whether South Korea can create another global phenomenon, just like it did with the Korean wave, remains to be seen. But it is clear, blockchain fever is here to stay. And that'll do for this edition of Korea Report. Thank you for being with us. I'll see you again next time.